What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a reaction to Portishead, their fantastic live album, or so I hear, Roseland NYC Live, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate everything you bring to me. You brought me some stuff that I thought I probably wouldn't like, and I really did, so that's always a fun thing. Thanks to all the patrons who make this thing go. Check out our Patreon link below, or the Patreon link on the end screen. If you like to support us anyway, we got some really cool stuff coming up for 2023. All right. Robert says, you may be wondering why I'm requesting a live album. The answer is the studio albums have a shallow sound, in my opinion, and the live versions sound fuller with the orchestra. I got a little info on Portishead. They're an English band formed in 1991 in Bristol. The band is named after Portishead, Somerset, 8 miles west of Bristol along the coast. I've always wondered that, and I've never looked up why. So the band comprises vocalist Beth Gibbons, producer Jeff Barrow, and musician Adrian Utley. Dave McDonald, an engineer on their first records, is sometimes cited as the fourth members. They only have 3 studio albums and this one. Now, this one was after only 2 of their albums in 94 and 97. They came out with the third album called Third in 2008. Obviously, none of those songs are on here. It was recorded in 3 different places, right? At Roseland Ballroom, New York City in July 1997, which almost all the songs are from that. The Warfield, San Francisco in April 1998, and Court Festival in Kristiansand, Norway in July of 1998. All tracks are written by Jeff Barrow, Beth Gibbons, and Adrian Utley, unless I note otherwise, guys. So the music will not be in here, but it'll be at a Vimeo link below. Check that out. Follow along with this. Let's jump into it. With our first track, Humming. It's from the Portishead album, which is their self-titled second album in 1997. All right, I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Robert. All right, Humming, great epic track. I mean, what, about a 2-minute, maybe 2.5-minute build-up? I definitely think doing this live with the symphony is a fantastic way to do this, and a really good option from Robert here doing it this way, because it does have that great soundscape to it. You know, they've been likened to some trip hop at times, but they tried to get away from that. They didn't necessarily like that label on them as the time went on, but you could definitely feel it there. You know, the turntable work on this one by Jeff Barrow was quite nice. And, you know, best lyrics there, or best vocals have to be powerful, and they are. You've got to be powerful to hold it with all of these people backing you up, right? You can't come in there with a weak vocal performance. But you felt the emotion in her. You know, it's been so long that I can't confess. And it's been so wrong, right now it's wrong. Is it all as it seems, so unresolved, so unredeemed? If I remain, how will I know? So I think it's a relationship maybe in there, but just a fantastic soundscape. Great way to start this album off with that kind of energy. Now we'll go to the second track, Cowboys. Also off that second album, Portishead. This one's just written by Barrow and Gibbons officially. I don't have a lot on any of these songs. There just wasn't a lot out there. I mean, I went and looked at the original albums, and was there just not a lot out there on Portishead, unfortunately, but let's get after it. Cowboys, really well done. Arrangement-wise, musicianship-wise, not one of my favorites. Probably not going to be one of my favorites on here. Nothing wrong with it, just not quite. A little more a trip hop for me than I really love, but it was really, really well done, and kind of built that I don't say anger, kind of drama to it, because I think the lyrics kind of talk about somebody who's oppressing somebody, but they're going to get theirs. I think that's kind of where it's going. If I'm wrong with that, you guys let me know. I know you will let me know. All right, next up we have All Mine, also from the Portishead album in 1997. This one was the lead single, reached 8 in the UK, and so far is Portishead's only top 10 hit in the UK. Went to 8 in Scotland, 36 in Australia, and 29 in New Zealand. All Mine, that was just great. I mean, all the musicianship, the bass on there coming through there. Beth sounded fantastic. It's like something you could have pulled from yesteryear, right? A 40s or 50s female singer with just powerful vocals carrying this whole thing, built the drama all throughout, basically telling this guy, look, you're all mine. And that's just kind of the way it's going to be, right? Tethered and tied, there's nowhere to hide from me. All mine, you have to be. So don't resist. We shall exist until the day I die. All mine, you have to be. So if you want that, that's good. If you don't want that and you're that guy, you might be a little frightened, because she's making a compelling case and not really giving you a choice. Next up, we have Mysterans. I've been trying to figure out how I was going to say it. We'll just go with that. Off their debut album, Dummy, in 1994. Mysterans, I don't know. And of course, she never said it in there. Definitely more trip hoppy. I did like it though. That Jeff on the turntables is really talented. You obviously feel Beth's emotion in this one as well. Inside, you're pretending crimes have been swept aside somewhere where they can forget. Divine upper reach is still holding on. This ocean will not be grasped. So maybe forgetting the bad things that somebody has done to you. All for nothing. Did you really want? Refuse to surrender. Strung out until ripped apart. Who dares to condemn? All for nothing. Did you really want? The way she drags it out. So that with the symphony in there, I think makes you feel the emotion of the song. Next up, we have Only You. Lots of writers on this. Beryl Gibbons, Utley, but also Ken Thorne, Trey Hartson, and Derek Stewart from the second album, Portishead. This one was a single. All right, Only You got the turntable scratching to start the song off for a little while. It comes back in later on. I thought Beth sounded really good. You could hear the pain in her, right? The song is about, only this guy can do it for her, only him. He's the only one that can make her happy. It's only you who can tear me apart, and it's only you who can turn my wooden heart. So you can destroy me, but you can also make me feel alive. It's only you. No pressure, dude. No pressure at all. But thought the strings on here were fantastic. But I thought her emotive, almost pain vocal delivery really brought the song alive for me. Next up, we got Half Day Closing, Beryl Gibbons, Utley, and Joseph Bird on songwriting credits off that second album, self-titled Portishead in '97. All right, Half Day Closing, an interesting last 30 seconds there, but that song almost had, I don't want to say, an unsettling, that's the word I'm looking for, an unsettling soundscape, like on purpose, right? So it was very interesting because I think they're talking about in this one, it had more of a traditional build. You had drums in there as it built in and stuff. And the symphony didn't play nearly as big of a part, but I thought it worked really well. But I think it's talking about when you're younger, and everybody knows what they want and the whole world looks great. And then as you get older, that all disappears. The days of golden days when everybody knew what they wanted, it ain't here today. Through the times of lasting love, when parents talked of things tried and tested, it doesn't feel the same. And then that chorus where Beth really just draws it out. Dreams and belief have gone. Time, life itself goes on, and just kind of talks about how I think kind of it was nice when we were young and innocent. Now that we know how the world works, it's not such a great place to be sometimes. But we're going to stay on this album, the Portishead album in 1997. We got Over. It was a single, went to 25 in the UK. Over, where in the previous song, I didn't mention it, I meant to, the bass work was fantastic. This one, the guitar work kind of dominates throughout. I'm going to get more of an orchestral performance in here at some point, but on the guitar, of course, we have Adrian Utley. So good stuff there. Also a motive, and I mean, that's kind of the theme here. It's kind of what Portishead does and Beth does. But on this one, a really emotive vocal performance, because I don't know if she's suicidal, she's walking away from a job, a relationship, whatever. I can't hold this day anymore, understand me anymore. To tread this fantasy openly, what have I done? Oh, this uncertainty is taking me over. And the way Beth is so good at drawing out words, right, that really pull you into the song. It's almost mesmerizing or hypnotic. So, well-written song, really well performed. Next up, we got Glory Box. Go back to that Dummy album, their debut in 1994. It was the third single. Slant Magazine listed the song at 21 in their ranking of the 100 best singles of the 90s. So, high praise for Glory Box. All right, Glory Box, by far the most streamed song on here, like by far, not even close. That was an interesting song, right? Because, I mean, it was everywhere. I'm not saying it was a bad song. It was everywhere. I mean, Beth's voice on the first verse and the second verse, like this weird inflection. And then, you just had that repeating note towards the end that almost sounded like a 60s crime movie, that it should be that little, I don't know, man. But she's basically saying in the song itself that she's tired of being the temptress. She says at the end, she just give me a reason to love you. She just wants to love this guy and not be on the open market anymore. But it was really about just that arrangement, man. I think this one really rewards you for repeated listenings for sure. Next up, we have Sour Times. Now, this one's live at the Warfield in San Francisco in 1998. It's the only song from San Francisco on here. It's interesting to me, and I couldn't find, why is there one song on here from Norway and one from San Francisco? and all the rest of them are from NYC. But anyway, I digress. This one's officially written by Barrow Gibbons, Utley, and Lalo Schifrin from the Dummy album in 1994. It was a single. NME ranked it 32 in their list of 50 best songs of 1994. And Slant Magazine, while they ranked Glory Box 21 in the top singles of the 90s, they ranked this one 77. The song uses a sample from Argentine composer Lalo Schifrin. That's how he gets credited. Danube Incident from the 1967 album More Mission Impossible. Portishead sped up the sample to a desired tempo, which took Schifrin's arrangement up nearly a semitone, giving the song a dissonant kind of hip-hop tuning. It was released as a second single from Dummy in August of 94. It initially reached only 57 in the UK singles chart, but after Glory Box made it big, the previous single, in 1995, it was re-released and peaked at 13 in April of 95. It's also the band's only song to date to appear on the Billboard Hot 100 chart at number 53. Now, I have heard this song. Sour Times, what a freaking performance by Beth, right? That whole song just works fantastic for me. And it's kind of a theme on these albums, but you know, a troubled relationship, right? And she ends verse 1 with take a ride, take a shot now, because nobody loves me. It's true. Not like you do. So no one's going to be as good as this guy. Second verse ends with take a ride, take a shot now. But you know, it's just that emotive because nobody loves me. It's true. Nobody loves me. It's true. Nobody loves me like you do. It just seems like it seems only disturbed. Only nobody loves me, not like you do. I mean, just a fantastic performance. Great song. We got 2 songs left. We'll go to Roads, and this is the one from the festival in Norway in 1998. Once again, the only song from there, from the Dummy album in 1994. Roads, the only song from Norway, and the Norwegian crowd is really into it. You feel the energy. This song repeats the first verse 3 different times, right? There's only 2 verses like in most of their other songs, but oh, can't anybody see we've got a war to fight, never find our way, regardless of what they say. How can it feel this wrong from this moment? How can it feel this wrong in that chorus? I thought Beth sounded fantastic on this one. This one didn't have as much vocal and arrangement diversity as the previous 2 tracks that were so popular. But man, I really thought this was a great song. We're going to finish this thing off. We're back in that Roseland ballroom in New York City. We got the song Strangers, Barrow Gibbons, Utley, and Wayne Shorter on vocal or on lyrical credits here from that debut album, Dummy, in 1994. All right, there's 33 seconds there of this crowd cheering. I didn't know if there's going to be something else. This song kind of rewinds us back to a lot of the other songs on where the symphonic influence on here is much bigger. The trip hop on here is much bigger. So just a much more grand song. But I did like it, and it was interesting to sequence the album this way to kind of take us back there at the end. It's going to segue me into my favorite tracks. I'll give honorable mentions to the song we just listened to, Strangers, Over, and Humming, the first song on here. My faves are going to be All Mine, Sour Times, and Roads. Overall score of this album. This is not really my style of music, but I did enjoy going through this journey, right? Because it does push me. It's a lot different than stuff that I listen to. I think Beth is a fantastic vocalist and can really do a lot of things with her voice. I think the fact that Robert chose to have the live versions is a fantastic choice on this. It's usually not a fantastic choice to do live albums. They're just usually not as good. But this one with the symphony, it just adds something different. You can really feel Beth's power on this. So, and just how good she really is. I mean, everybody else is great as well. And I didn't throw out all the shout outs to the different people in the symphony, you know, the different horned instruments, the cello, the violin, all that stuff. But fantastic job there. So I did really enjoy looking at this thing in this manner. I'm going to be at a 7.5 on it. I think if you don't know Portishead, this is probably the place to start, right? Because you get to see their real talent and kind of a mixing of those 2 albums that are so well thought of. So let me know what you think of this. What else should I check out from Portishead? I mean, there's not a lot else, the 2 full albums, and then the 3rd album, which comes way later on in 2008. But thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, I will see you.